Whether you're running your first ever marathon or you're on number 9 or 10, the question a lot of us are asking is, how long should my long run be and how long should my longest long run be in a marathon training block? Today I'm doing one of my longest runs of the Berlin Marathon block. I've got 22 miles with a pickup in the middle of the run, and I'm going to take you with me, talk through the whole process, what I'm doing and why, and then after that I'm going to try and help you answer that question. How long should your longest long run be and why? Let's do it. Not much honey left. It's pretty early, and that is because it's long run day and you have to get up and at 'em out here in Flagstaff because it does get warm, it does get windy, and we're meeting at 7:15, which I have become accustomed to, which makes me very proud to say. Don't you think?
Yeah.
It used to be a success to get out the door at like 9, half 9, 10 on a Sunday. 7:15, no problem. I've got my last long run in Flagstaff today with 3 weeks exactly today from the Berlin Marathon, which is not even remotely terrifying, okay? And I have my last kind of legit long run. Well, it's not my last legit long run. I've got a long run next week, but we will be 2 weeks out then, so it will be cut down a little bit. I sort of see my top end long runs as the kind of 20 plus mile long runs, 20 to 22. That's what I've focused on in this block, so we'll be doing that today. Next week will be a little bit shorter, maybe 18, which is still, decent. But today I'm also cutting down in the second half. So I'm going out for 8 miles easy, cutting down for 8 to 10 miles from like starting at 6:20 pace, 6:20 minute miling, cutting down, we'll see where we end up, and then doing a little cool down at the end of the run, which is gonna be good on Lake Mary. I've not done one of these quite this long in this block yet. We've done a few progression runs and plenty of easy long runs, although there's plenty of long runs you can do out here in Flagstaff that are not easy just by design of the route. So we're keeping it more flat today, and as always, I'll practice my race fueling, which I do on these long runs, partly to practice for race day and to train your stomach, but also to get the benefit of taking on carbohydrates because it keeps you fueled during the run, which means you're going to perform better. Your body fuels itself off carbohydrates during these endurance type runs, so it's good to eat carbs before, but also to take on carbs during, so that your brain knows carbs are coming. Keep using those carbs. Keep using those good, juicy, fueling carbs. So I do that through my drinks, which are sitting in the fridge. Let's go and check it out. So, my drinkies, I have 2 of these today. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Yeah, I'll probably just use 2 full bottles. I'll have just under a third of a bottle every 5K. That's during the race. So I do the same thing to practice during the long runs. In here, I've got 80 grams of carbs in my OTE super carbs, different flavors and different bottles just to mix things up a little bit. Tastes a lot better when it comes straight out the fridge, which it won't have done halfway through the run. So I'll be drinking that lovely warm carb mix, which really hits the spot. It's got everything I need in there, 80 grams of carbs, and that's roughly what I'll take on per hour. And there's also electrolytes in there too to replace all those ones I'm losing whilst I'm sweating, which is a good thing. And we need to not be late, and I need to do some warm-ups, so we should get ready. Ready? Only 5 minutes late.
Philippa. How are you feeling?
My plantar's is really tight.
Plantar's really tight?
Yeah.
Okay.
It got really bad at like 4 miles. I thought I was gonna have to stop, but then it's kind of like eased off a little bit. So I feel like this stop will probably help a bit.
Do you think it's worth doing it? It's not worth fucking with it. If like.
Yeah, well, I'll see what it's like when I change shoes, to be honest.
Okay.
Like I don't normally wear these, so that might have been a faux pas today.
Okay. Alright. Yeah. Just like to be like very careful about it. Like if we piss it off, we're within the window now where it can directly impact our race.
Yeah, I just feel like it's never, like it's always just been something where it's like it calms down.
Okay.
So
that's fine.
I have some exercises I know what I need to do for it.
Okay, that's fine. As long as like we're
if it gets like if it locks up completely, then okay. This is a long bathroom break. You know what that means?
What does it mean?
Means we get to appreciate the nature, Daniel.
I'm not doing that much.
Going for a poo.
There she goes.
Pickup done. Got down to, I think like 5:32.
Damn. What mileage are you at right now?
18. So 2 to 4 cool down.
How was that?
Good. Yeah, I felt strong. Solid pickup. I didn't catch all the splits because I just felt in a really good focused state. I just trusted and knew that I was kind of clocking down most of the time. And yeah, I think I did it pretty evenly. We'll find out when we look at the splits when we get back. It is rolling, so you have to factor that in too. And I feel like the wind picked up on the way back.
It did, yeah.
But it didn't really bother me like it has done before, which is good. Feel fit. Those good, like hard long runs that go well are such a confidence boost in marathon training, because I feel like a really good session is quite rare because you're just carrying so much volume in the legs, quite fatigued. I mean, this isn't fun. The last mile of a 22-mile long run never feels spectacular, but I could do a couple more if I needed to, which is a good place to be, I think. Fair play, dude.
Fair play, man. That's sick.
Long run is complete, and now we have the very difficult task of resembling a human for the rest of the day, because we promised Connor we'd watch the game with him, and being sociable after running 22 miles is hard, and there's no two ways about that. I would rather just lay in a jacuzzi with an endless supply of chocolate milk. But I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna look alive, gonna go watch some football. It's not really football because it's not, they hardly kick the ball and it's weird shape, so alright.
Emotional damage.
And then when we get back, I'll talk through the long run, give you some stats, and then get on to what is the longest long run you should do in a marathon block. Spoiler alert, it's not a simple one-size-fits-all answer. Go Bills, even though they're currently losing to the Cardinals. So the Bills won. Go Bills. That's solely for you, Connor, if you're watching. My legs hurt a little bit, and I'm not surprised after this morning's hard effort out on the long run. Now, the last few weeks, my long runs have just been kind of easy pace, conversation pace, although a lot of the routes out here in Flagstaff are not easy because the hills know how to give, we'll say. Last week we did a one loop, which is a very humbling hilly loop that I've done twice now for 22 miles. I'll put the map up here. It's a nice little lollipop loop. Then this is the elevation. So an easy long run in terms of pace, but definitely not in terms of effort. And the segments from that run, like the leaderboard, is terrifying. Some people have hit that run extremely hard, and I'm in awe. Week before last, I did 22 as well on not quite as hilly a route, but undulating nonetheless. Today, we were aiming to keep it a little bit more flat, on the pickup section especially, because you want to be hitting paces and not kind of worrying too much about a really big hill that's going to get in the way of that. Lake Mary Road is undulating, but it's weird. There are parts that feel like they're flat, but they're actually slightly up or down, and vice versa. I quite like it for these types of sessions, these types of long runs, because you can really kind of hone in and focus. So for the first 8 miles, we went on the mailboxes loop, just kind of a trail that goes around. It is a little bit up and down, a little bit dusty, and I think that's why my planter was playing up a little bit. I had that earlier in the week where my planter just got super tight after 2 to 3 miles. It was a little bit later into the run today, so that's how I know that it's improving, and the only thing that really helps is stopping and walking for a little bit in the run. So I did that once and it cleared up, it was fine, and then I changed shoes after 8 miles, so it didn't come up again. Pace then for that first 8 miles started out at 7:30 minute miling. All of the minutes per kilometer paces are going to appear over here for you weird people that work in the metric system. We picked it up a little bit just very naturally: 7:20, 7:06, 7:20, 7:04, 7:13, 7:10, 7:11. So just kind of locking in that kind of like 7 to 7:30 range, which is my kind of go-to easy conversational pace out here. And then after changing shoes, the assignment, if you like, was for the pickup to be between 8 to 10 miles. It's always a range, which I like because you can key off how you're feeling and be smart with it. Obviously, I always want to hit the max because I'm a perfectionist. I want to max out my performance, and to me, 10 miles is better than 8, but on a day that you're hurting particularly, or the weather turns against you, makes it a little bit harder. For a whole host of reasons, it can be smarter to go to 8 or to 9 and not push the needle, push yourself over that red line. We got to 10 today because I was feeling good, and the instructions from coach was to start the cut down at around 6:10 to 6:20s. I was definitely a little rusty off changing my shoes, so the first mile was 6:30, and that's okay because we've got 10 miles to build into this. And then I really got into my rhythm, got into my flow, and so followed up that 6:30 mile with a 6:14, a 6:10, 6:04, 5:55, and then 5:50, and that's when I turned around to do the next 4 miles coming back in the other direction. And what we're looking for here is a really kind of gradual, natural, controlled progression, which I think apart from the first mile and that kind of 15-second jump, I did. And then on the way back, my last 4 miles were 5:46, 5:42, 5:39, and 5:33. So again, really nice increments, and it was only really the last sort of mile to a mile and a half, I'd say, that I felt like I was really working. Up until that point, the time was just kind of falling off very naturally, and even in the first half, I had to kind of consciously hold myself back. I'd ran that 6:10 third mile, and I'd look down, and all of a sudden it would say 5:55, and I have to kind of reel myself back in again to make sure that I don't take too big a chunk off that then I leave myself with nowhere to go later on, or I then have to like repeat that mile. I'd much rather it's a nice kind of stepped progression, which it was, and I came away with a very tidy graph that looked like this. Art. Finished up with 4 miles to cool down straight through. I didn't stop after the pickup, I just went straight into my kind of easy pace again and closed out with 7:13, 6:58, 6:49, and 7:08. Practiced my fueling throughout the whole run today, which went really well. It's definitely been getting better each run, and that's why you have to practice. I had a long run about 5 or 6 weeks ago now, which was my longest run at the time. It was that first 22 miler at A1 where I just couldn't hack the fueling. We were playing around with the levels a little bit to see whether I could take on 100 grams of carbs an hour rather than 80 grams, and it was a hot day. It was too much. I projectiled after the run. Emetophobia warning, not nice. I'm not gonna show any pictures, no one needs to see that, and I wouldn't recommend. But that's why we practice, to have that trial and error, learn from the errors, and then hopefully on race day not have that as something you need to worry about, because the fueling just felt second nature today. Taking on a third of a bottle of super carbs every 3 miles. It will be every 5k in the race, but that's, you know, pretty much bang on, and felt better for it, because not only is that, training your gut, getting that fueling training in, it's giving your body that constant source of carbs, which is the energy that's getting you through this run. So super important to practice that. If you're not, please start doing that. Good solid long run, rounding off a 100-mile week, exactly 100 miles actually, 100.01. Smashed the volume this week. That's not my highest week of the block. I did 108 last week and 106 the week before, and I think I went 101 maybe like 4 weeks ago or something. So just been kind of getting comfortable sitting in that kind of 90 to 100 spot this time around, which has been good, and my body's been dealing with it pretty well. So far so good. Knocking on some wood, in case anyone's listening. Now, I promised I would help you figure out how long your longest run should be. This is my longest run. I've done it a few times, 22 miles. I won't go over that, but is that what you should do? Let's find out. Jack Daniels is a renowned coach and physiologist, and his rule is that your long run shouldn't exceed 25% of your weekly volume. So if you wanted your longest run of the block for your long run to be 20 miles, you need to be hitting 80 miles per week, which is a lot. ChatGPT would tell you that 18 to 22 miles is adequate depending on whether you are a beginner or an experienced marathon runner. The Hansen method caps the long run at just 16 miles. The Running Channel are saying between 16 to 22 miles, which is a pretty big range, or 2.5 to 3 hours, and that's only 3 to 4 weeks before race day. And some of the pros are recommending 25 miles or even over distance.
Oh, hell no!
So, does that make it any clearer? The problem with any of these methods or assumptions claiming to be a one-size-fits-all answer is they don't. And to be fair, a lot of them are ranges for very good reason. We are all in different places in our marathon journeys. We all have different thresholds for volume. Our fitness is in different places. We have different injury histories. Our biomechanics are different. The length of time we've even been running for is very different from one person to another. A long list goes on, but what I'm trying to say is we are all individuals, and therefore our training should be very individualized for us in order to get the best results. And I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Long runs are hard. Whether they're just at an easy pace and you're out there for 2 hours, or you're getting all the way up to 2 hours, 45 minutes, 3 hours plus, and there's some steady running in there, or even some marathon pace mixed in. Any type of long run is hard, and that's okay, provided you're smart with it. The stress that a long run puts on your body is necessary. You need a certain level of breakdown to occur so that you can then absorb that training and adapt to it. You're not going to get anywhere if you're not pushing yourself by pushing the volume, by pushing the pace at times, but it's about being smart with that stress and not overstressing your body so that you can't adapt to it, can't recover, and then end up injuring yourself or burning out. So my caveat to all of this, before helping you figure out, where that long run needs to sit as your longest run, is please be patient with it. Building up your long runs can't happen overnight because your body needs to understand what the hell is going on. It needs to be able to adapt to it. You can't go from running 10K as your longest run on a Sunday every week to 20K and doubling that or more. Your body is going to be like, huh? What the hell are we doing? I'm not used to this. This is too big a jump. Shut down, injury, no bueno. Provided you give your body the time it needs to gradually adapt to these long runs, getting a little bit longer each week, it's gonna figure out that this is what it needs to do. It's gonna adapt to that training, and you're also gonna build consistency over time. So that consistency leads to improved fitness and also being able to then access those bigger jumps or that longer long run that you want to get to. So I've got some of my historical training data here to help me kind of push this point just a little bit more if I haven't pushed it far enough already. In my first marathon block, when I did my debut marathon in Seville in 2022, wow, that's a while ago. I averaged 64 miles per week across that 14-week training block. I ran over 20 miles in my long run twice over that 14 weeks. Now, I'm in my 4th marathon block, 3 weeks out from the Berlin Marathon today, and I've averaged 90 miles per week so far in this training block, and the last 3 weeks, every Sunday, I've run 22 miles. Those 2 training blocks, both in the longest long run, the quantity of those those longest long runs, the weekly volume are very different. And you can probably guess what the 2 marathon blocks in the middle look like. It's a steady stepped progression from A to B. It's not going from 60 miles a week in block number 1 straight to 100 miles a week in block 2. It's been a gradual increase so that my legs and the rest of my body are kind of eased into it, and I'm making those adaptations the whole way through. Let's also take an example that might relate to a few of you watching this video, maybe preparing for a marathon. Let's say that we have a training plan and it's for a guy called Steve. And Steve has never run a marathon before. He's used to running 30 miles a week, and he's been doing that for pretty much a year, focusing on the 10K distance. But now he wants to run a marathon. He's gonna need to start increasing his volume because his weekly long run is only 12 to 14K. Steve's got a marathon in 16 weeks, and he wants to run sub 4 hours for this first marathon he's gonna run. Steve's gonna need to start tweaking his training. What he's probably not gonna do is run 3 back-to-back 22-mile long runs in this training block. It's too short of a time span for him to get from what he's doing now to that. Maybe he's gonna peak at 17 miles for his longest run. Maybe he gets to 18, and he probably will only do that distance once. Maybe that's 4 weeks out from the marathon. We're just hypothesizing here. Maybe this guy's name isn't Steve as well. Maybe it's Daniel. Anyway, he also might decide to focus on time, okay? Maybe he's decided, actually I think what's smart is hitting 80% of the time on feet that I'm gonna have on race day. That's sub 4. Maybe he gets to just over 3 hours for his longest long run. That's probably enough to prepare him for race day. With all of his workouts in there, weekly volume gently increasing before he tapers off, he's probably gonna be okay. It's gonna be tough. Marathons are tough for all of us out there, but I think for Steve, for Daniel, I think this could work. And of course, it goes without saying, he's gonna gradually work up to that 17-mile long run. And he's not gonna start out even at 14 or 15 miles for his first week, because that's way more than he's done before. And what I'm saying with this is take your time with it. There really is no valid reason to rush getting up to that longest run in the block. And be open-minded that there probably is no right or wrong longest run that you need to hit. It really is about figuring out, through a little bit of trial and error, what feels right for you, listening to your body and the signs that it's giving you along the way as to how close to that red line you're getting. And most importantly, not going over this invisible red line. Take 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe even 6 to get from 14 miles all the way up to 18, if that's gonna be your longest run of the block. Start where you know you're comfortable from what you've done in the past, and just be patient with it, letting it come to you. And accept that you might not max out, you might get it wrong in that regard, but that's better than overreaching, overstepping that line and not making it to the start line, because that is the most crushing feeling. And whilst we're talking about hypothetical training plans, I actually have some free training plans that you can download from my website if you so wish. There's 5K on there, there's 10K, different levels. I've also got some cross-training sessions. There's a link in the description below for you to have a little look at those and peruse. And in the future, there might be more coming up, so you might want to get on the mailing list. So whilst we haven't got to a concrete number, and I'm here saying, Sally, your longest run is 16 miles. Rupert, it's gonna be 20, maybe 20.5. We've not got to that level because there's no way I can tell you that without looking at a whole host of other things in your kind of background, your history, and I might still get it wrong. I'm a coach, and a lot of what we do is guesswork too, and educated guessing, I guess. But my advice to you is, if you're unsure how your longest long run should be, start from where you are now. Gradually build up, and maybe if it's your first marathon or you want to be conservative, get up to 16 miles, maybe 17. That's categorically enough to get a lot of people ready. And what you can then do is pay attention to how you feel on race day, accept that there are also tons of other factors, some outside of your control, some within your control, to do with your prep, but also on the day, that are going to impact that performance. But reflect on it, and if after that performance
moments you think, I really think I'd have benefited from 1 or 2 more miles in my long runs, and especially in my longest long run. I think that would have made me feel more prepared, and I would have noticed a difference in the last 10K, let's say. Great, that's awesome information to have. You can then take that into your next marathon block with you and build on the experience and the fitness that you have from this one. Part of finding out what works for you and how we're all so different is reflecting on your own experiences through the training block, through the race, and then implementing that into the next one. And unfortunately, there is no secret or magic formula that anyone is going to be able to give you to provide you with that number, or a route that's going to get you there better than the trial and error that we all have to do as athletes. Embrace that process of trial and error, and I'd say minimize the risk of the errors by taking your time, making smart decisions, being sensible with it, and knowing that this isn't the last marathon you're gonna run. There's always next time. You can always build on it. If in doubt, maybe err on the side of caution. And doing it that way, you'll probably have a great time learning about yourself as an athlete and figuring out what works for you as you go along. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, think about hitting that like button so that YouTube knows that it should send this video out to more people that might find it helpful. And if you've got a long run coming up, make sure that you love the grind whilst you're doing it.